Here to teach you guys another math game that you can play at home with your adults. This game is called Under the Cup. This game is going to need a piece of paper. You're going to need something to write with. You're going to need some type of counters. I'm using gold coins to go along with our March leprechaun theme. You can use coins, you can use game pieces, you can use beans, you can use anything you have laying around your house, and you're also going to need a cup. So parents, you can make this game easier or more difficult depending on what level your child is ready for. I'm going to demonstrate the game using 5 counters. You can make this up to as many as you would like. So the way the game works, I went ahead and drew what we call in kindergarten a number bond. So the way this works, the number bond, the top portion shows the whole. It shows how many you have in all. So for our game that I'm demonstrating with, I'm going to go ahead and write the number 5 in this. This is a tool that's going to help us write our equation over to the side. Now these 2 circles represent the parts. So if I were to divide my coins like this, I could have 3 in this part and 2 in this part. So I could use the numbers in this bond to write my equation. I could write the equation 3 plus 2 equals 5. So that's just a quick example. So the way we're going to use this to do our game, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase these 2 numbers. We're going to start with a 5 because we know we have 5 counters to begin with. I'm not going to add any more. I'm not going to take any away. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and then I'm going to take my cup and I'm going to hide some of them. And then you guys are going to have to figure out how many are under the cup. Are you ready to try it? Close your eyes. All right, you can look. Go ahead and zoom in on how many coins we've got. How many coins do you see here? Let's go ahead and count those together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the part that I do know is 4. Now I have to figure out how many are missing. I have to figure out how many are under my cup. So there's different equations we could write to help us solve this problem. The first one I could do would be a subtraction problem. 5 minus something, because I don't know how many I put under there, equals 4. I had 4 left over. Now that's a pretty difficult problem to solve, so maybe there's a different way I could write an equation to figure this out. What if I switched my 2 addends? I know the 4 part, so what if instead I wrote 5 minus the 4 that I know? Will that give me the part that's missing? It will. So let's try that one. If I had 5 and I know that there's 4 remaining, how many would be hiding under my cup? You think the answer is 1? Let's take a look. Are you ready? Was it 1? It was. So 1 is my missing part. Now let's plug that into our first equation and see if we were correct. 5 minus 4 was 1. So let's try it up here. 5 minus something equals 4. Let's try putting that 1 in there. 5 minus 1. Let's try it. 5 minus 1 equals 4. Was it the 4 that we had remaining? It is. All right, let's do another one. This time I'm going to show you how you can make it a little bit harder. Oops, big eraser. So, what if we did it with 10 counters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to try it with 10. So 10 is my whole. Now I'm going to start with my 10. I'm going to take away something. I don't know what that is, and I'm going to hide it under my cup. Close your eyes. Okay, I had 10. I took away something. Now I can get the information that I do have, which is how many are left. So let's look at how many are left, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the information that I do know, I I started with 10. I have 6 remaining. Now my question is, how many are under the cup? I want you to go ahead and write an equation to help you solve that problem. Okay, so I'm going to show you my thinking. I started with 10, and then I took away something. That's my mystery number. And when I was left with 6. Now, this equation doesn't really help me solve for how many I'm missing. This equation tells me what happened. I started with 10. I took away a mystery amount, and I was left with 6. But if I use my equation writing skills, I could try the opposite. I started with 10, and I take away the 6 that I know that I have. Here's my 6. Then I can solve to find out the missing number. So let's try that. We had 10, and we know the 6 part. I'm going to take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's my 6. How many would be remaining? Did you say 4? So you think the missing number is 4? So underneath my cup should be 1, 2, 3, 4. You got it. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my equation or my number bond. 4. Now let's see if it fits into our equation. 10 minus 6 equals 4. Now let's try it in the missing part equation. 10 minus 4 equals 6. Let's try and prove if that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My equation said 10 minus 4. I'm going to show minus by drawing my x's. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many did I have remaining? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did that equation work out? It did. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, good job. So, you guys can play this with your adult. You can have any number of counters you want to start with. Now, the challenge I would pose to you friends.
I'm gonna go to number.
Okay, honey. The challenge I would pose to you friends. With this number bond, you can write many different equations. I'm going to show you some examples, and I want to see how many different equations you can write for that one number bond. So one number bond I could do is I'm going to use my hands because that always helps Mrs. Mosier. So we have our 2 parts. So I could do my part, whole equation. That's an adding equation. I'm taking this part and joining them together to see how many I have in all. So for this problem, my part whole could be 4 plus 6, there's my 2 parts, equals 10, which is my whole. I started with this one this time. I could do the opposite. I could start here, part, whole. So that would be 6 plus 4. How many would be in my whole? Still 10. All right, now we could do some subtraction equations with this number bond as well. When I do subtraction, I start with the whole and I take some away. So if I'm starting with the whole, what number would I write first? The 10, you got it. Sometimes it helps using our bodies to show whole, part, because that helps us determine which number we're trying to use. So I start with my whole, which is 10, and I'm going to take away a part. Which part would we take away first? The 4. So 10, take away the 4. 10, take away 4. How many would be left? How many's in that last part? 6, you got it. Let's try it the other way. We start with our whole, which is 10. Now we're going to take away the other part, which is 6. 10, take away 6 equals, 10, take away 6 equals how many? 4, you got it. So with a number bond, you can do this with any fact family you choose, Mom and Dad. This is a great strategy to help your kid get used to writing multiple equations. So you put the whole number in there and then you pick any two parts you want and see if they can write the equation stories to match them. So for this equation, we wrote 4 plus 6 equals 10. I want you guys to do the motions with me and do that one. 4 plus 6 is 10. Now let's do the other one. 6 plus 4 is 10. The last two were subtraction equations. Start with the whole. 10 minus 4 equals 6. The last one, 10 minus 6 equals 4. So all four of those equations can come from that one number bond. The under the cup game is a great way to practice that missing add-in strategy. You can use addition, you can use subtraction. Any of those strategies that will help your child to solve that problem will all be correct. The best advice we can give you as teachers is to have your child think aloud. So have them explain how they solved the problem. How did they figure it out? Did they make a picture in their mind? Did they use their fingers? All of those are great strategies, and the best thing we can do to help them with their math thinking is to let them talk about how they solved it. We as parents often want to jump in and validate their answers or tell them if they are right or wrong or help them. But a lot of times guiding them to the answers is actually doing more harm than good. You want them to think through their own responses and prove why their answer was correct. And a lot of times if they made an error, while they're thinking through that process, they will find their own errors, which is going to make them better mathematicians. So please use the what's under the cup game. You can do the same thing with what's in my hand. I played this game with my grandmother a lot when I was a little kid. She had 5 in her hand. She would tell me to close my eyes and she would hide some in her hand and show me what she had left, and I had to figure out what was missing. So any of those variations of the game will work. Please make sure you have them writing equations for the math that they're doing and have them talking about their math thinking. Thank you guys. Have a great Tuesday.